Let's move on to the next poll. What was your, maybe I should have done this poll first, but what was your entry point into the ASL system? I know what yours is, and you know what mine is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Original Gangster.
Yes, the OG squad leader.
I don't know if I even voted on this. I don't know if I saw this poll.
Oh, I pulled my box off the shelf. See if I can get it on camera. Beat up old box. You can't see it. You'll see it in the final video.
Yeah,
I can't remember
Gangster,
exactly
old
when
school.
we started playing. Late 70s.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, it was 78. I think,
Yeah.
pretty sure.
We dabbled in war games before that, but I think this is the one that kind of scratched that itch, and we're like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, the way I remember it, I remember uh, you had your little group playing AD&D,
Mhm.
and you pulled me into it, and we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then we were down at the game store one day for a session, and I saw Squad.
It was beckoning you.
Yeah, I read the back of the box. And I'm like, oh, and that was just when I was starting to get into, just starting to read about it, and yeah, it's like, oh god, I gotta have this. I remember John saying, "Oh, you don't want that; it's too complicated." I don't care. I want it.
Shut up, John. I don't care.
I remember playing it as solo a couple times and reading, uh, showing it to you, and then that's when you were like, yeah, and we started playing.
Yeah, at the time, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and we played some fantasy war games. I don't know if you played them, but I remember me, John, and Doug playing
Yeah,
games like Divine Right and SPI's War of the Ring, Starship Troopers a little bit, things like that.
yeah.
Um,
I think John had been playing like Panzer Leader.
oh yeah,
And
yeah, that's right. He had Panzer Leader too, or Panzer Blitz, or both, one of them. Yeah.
I don't think I didn't have any. Squad Leader was my first real war game. I had I had Milton Bradley's Chopper Strike tank, but I didn't really. I bought some Avalon Hill games after that,
Yeah.
different games, but I think Squad Leader was the first hex encounter game for me.
I think Squad Leader is my first serious, what I would say, serious war game. I don't know if you could count, Divine Right, War of the Ring. I mean, they were war games, but it was, elves and orcs and things,
Yeah.
larger scale as well. I don't know what scale you would call those type of games, but it's clearly larger than Squad Leader. And then I played, like I talked about in a recent video, some of the pocket games or meta games, whatever they're called by Steve Jackson, the little games you could get. I was playing some of those as
Oh,
well. I
yeah.
mean, they're small, right? I mean, like beginner type war games, but they were fun. Fun to cut your teeth on anyway. Let's look at the results here. Anyway, 326 votes. We got a really good turnout on this one. 49%, nearly half said they started with the original squad leader back in the day, which makes sense. We're kind of an aging hobby, so it probably makes sense that most people who play ASL now started with full ASL or with OG squad leader.
Well, it's a little surprising. It's a little surprising to me though, because if you're talking about Squad Leader, it would have been prior to 85. You know,
Yeah,
so whenever the Advance came out, and yeah, that was a long time ago. So
right. And, well, a lot of ASL players are old, so makes
yeah,
sense. It makes sense that they probably started playing squad leader. That's how they originally got into it. But 23% say, well, if you combine the two, but 23% say they were introduced to the system with starter kit and they're still playing it. So,
yeah.
at least about a quarter of the people that responded to this said their introduction to the ASL system was via starter kit. Again, another
Well,
indicator that it's working.
I think you're right though. I think you could actually combine those two.
Yeah.
They're basically the same thing. So that would be 36%
Yep.
math of it.
Third.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Some have moved on. Some are still playing. They may move on based on the other poll we did. But yeah, 36% or a third were introduced to the system via starter kit, which is great. That's its purpose, I think.
yeah, no, it's good.
And then 14%. These are the psychos in the group. They started with full ASL. These are the masochists. They just jumped in. Hopefully they're still playing. They didn't just give up on it.
No.
But yeah, I expected that to be the lowest when I put this poll up. That most people started either with original squad leader or starter kit at some point. How about the comments? Some of these are a little long. Sharpshooter got AS or squad leader 1979. Military service interrupted. Looks like he's not playing. He plays computer games. Occasionally break out ASL. Play a small scenario. There's certain nostalgia magic about the board game. The computer games have never given me. Yeah, that's true. Computer games.
Hmm.
I play lots of computer games. They're convenient in that you can usually, unless you're playing an MMO, massively multiplayer online game, you can play them on your schedule. You can play them for 10 minutes or 10 hours, depending on your level of dedication. But they don't give you that feeling of, I don't know, it's a different feeling of playing a board game, especially a board game at a table. If you're fortunate enough to be able to do that.
Well, yeah, especially if you're playing face to face, playing an actual
Yeah. Yep.
compared to just AI.
Let's see. Juan said bought Squad Leader back in the 80s when he was a teen. This guy's probably a little younger than us. Played with his brother, then got ASL Beyond Valor, but he lost interest in it, saying it was too complicated. He continued playing Dungeons and Dragons, computer games, uh, and he got some long ones here. Discovered
Well,
SK1.
I mean, what I would be curious to know would be how many people that play ASL have, if it goes back 30 years, have they been playing it the whole time? You know,
That
because you hear a lot of similar stories. Everybody's story usually is pretty similar. You started playing it when you were a teenager, then you went to college or whatever, and you took it, start a family, whatever. It was these time lapses, right? Just like us.
yeah happens to probably most people.
But I'm
It's
curious to know how many people started with squad leader in 1978, moved up to advanced squad leader, and just been playing every week,
yeah, been playing
entire time,
actively at some level. Yeah.
actively for the last 40 years. That would be, to me, that'd be
That
interesting.
maybe I'll run a poll for that here shortly. And the other question I'd like to ask is, for those of you who play ASL or Starter Kit, do you play any other games?
Yeah.
Is it your most of us I think it's our one system because it has so much variability in it. Or do you play it 50% of the time or once in a while or that type of thing? I'd like to
Well,
know that as well.
yeah, I've heard that. That's another similar story. Is yeah, like ASL is more a lifestyle than just a war game
It's an
because
obsession.
it takes really to play full ASL and to play it often. You got to be fairly committed. It's
Yeah, you
takes
can't.
a effort.
It's not a game like Monopoly, right? Where you don't
Yeah.
play it for 5 years and then you can just pick it up and play it, right?
Well, maybe some people can. I couldn't.
You know what I mean? It's not one that
Yeah.
you can just set aside for 5 years. You kind of have to. I mean, you remember the basics; it'll come back to you, but you need to almost relearn it again if you
No,
set it
it's
down.
yeah. I try to play other games and it's tough. It's
Right.
uh,
That could be an
you know.
age thing too.
Well, yeah, I forget more than I learn. I've forgotten more about ASL than Yeah.
No, it is a lifestyle. It's a game that um,
Takes some dedication. It's a big commitment.
I think. I mean, you and I have been playing it on and off for what 40 years now. More on lately than off. But it's one of those games where I don't think you. I mean, there may be a few people out there, obviously, that have been playing it the whole time and they're really good at it. And it's one of those games where you're always learning, either rules or how to attack or defend something, tactics, little tricks. It's one of those games that I think some people go into it thinking, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to read the rule book, I'm going to know how to play. And that is not ASL. ASL is,
No.
okay, I'm going to read the rule book. I'm going to play it some. I'm going to find someone to play with to help me learn. And you just need to get it in your mindset that you're going to be learning this game for years, and it's okay that you screw up or forget a rule. It's fine. It's just normal for this type
Well,
of game.
yeah. There's every game is like that. There is a game inside the game.
Hmm.
You can know how to play ASL, but not know how to play ASL.
Yeah, that probably applies to almost all of us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, to all war games.
Yeah, well,
Listen,
this
there's
was probably like near the top of those type of games, game within a game, and
yeah, it's the same thing. You start a new game, get the rules down, you start playing, you get a feel for it, and then all of a sudden at some point you find the game inside the game. Really know how to play that game.
well, ASL is. I mean, things can change just between scenarios. Even though it's the same game, you just change scenarios and you have different nationalities, different maps, different terrains, different theater, different SSRs. You always have to roll with the punches and evolve your ASL game. It's not a game that you're just going to sit down and learn like checkers and I'm done. I can play this game. I'm perfect at it. Never. It's not going to happen.
Well, that's the other thing is, yeah, I'm sure there's a few people out there that have been playing it for 30, 40 years, but how do you not get burned out on it? Because that's the other problem
You have to be
is,
really, yeah. I mean, I
well,
get I get burned out sometimes.
yeah, it takes such an effort and there's so much to it that if I always think, well, it'd be nice if we played more. But then at the same time, well, if we played more, there's a problem getting burned out on it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
well, I mean, everyone's different, right? But I know speaking for myself that, and we've taken breaks before,
yeah,
where I've gotten like, oof, I mean, yeah, let's just slow down a little bit. But I'm at the mode now where I think I would like to play a little more. But there's kind of you have to kind of it's like you're walking on top of that fence for me, right? I want to tread that line where I'm not getting burned out, but I don't have the I don't feel the need that we should be playing more, right? And everyone's
hmm
different. Some people can just play like all the time, and I would get burned out myself. Not because I don't like the game. It's just sometimes it's just too much because it's
well, it's just,
can be a lot of
yeah, it's
work.
just, well, it's just natural. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're playing the same thing for 30, 40, 20, 30,
Hmm.
you're probably gonna get tired of
Oh, okay. Let's do some more comments. ASL Spotting Round. He has a channel. Does some nice videos. I think his name's Rob, if I recall. Squad leader, neighbor friend of mine introduced me to that in D&D back in the game. Oh, this guy above looks like he's getting back into starter kit, which is good. But he's begging to deal with full ASL. So yeah, Juan, do it. Rob is old school, started with squad leader. Vic again. He says I'm old. Yeah, I think we all are. He started with squad leader in 80, 3 modules after that before full blown. Publishing dispatch number 7 this coming month. Oh, he does dispatches from the bunker. Clara, full ASL isn't that complex when you know the starter kit rules. I have no idea why somebody wouldn't switch over. Personal preference. I understand people not starter kit
it.
scratches that itch and they just don't
I
want
think
to.
they get intimidated, you
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
You
That's
start
yeah. I try to position the game where you don't have to be intimidated and don't feel like you need to learn it all at once. You just need to take it
nibble
slow and
away,
it'll be fine.
nibble
Yeah.
away at it
Yep.
because that is that comment is correct. I mean,
Yep.
SK gives you the hardest part. Defensive first fire and routing concealment are probably the hardest rule
To
sections
in
to get
infantry,
down
yeah.
to do right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hero says I just moved into starter kit from original squad leader. Oh, okay. Haven't heard of that much, but that's good. ASL best way to this is Johnny Law. ASL best way to unplug. Well, yeah, for some people maybe. Some people it can be stressful, I guess. No video, no sound, lots of reading, thinking, organizing, planning. Every 17-year-old should be doing this.
Yeah. I mean, playing. I don't know when we play ASL, it's a little stressful. I just
Sometimes,
like
yeah.
my finger, like when I'm hovering the mouse over morale check button,
Oh
the
God,
vasl,
your fingers
and I'm like,
sweating.
yeah, my fingers trembling. I'm just like, "Oh, here
Do
it
it.
comes."
Click the button.
Yeah, they're broke, of course. Yeah, they're broke. Fuck.
Of course, I roll a 12. Of course. Convincing 17-year-olds to do it, I'm not sure that's going to happen. Starter kit, Grand Tank again. Did he already comment above, or is that the other video? It must have been the other video. Or here it is. Starter kit is amazing, and I wish there were more scenarios and units for it. Yeah, which you and I have encountered recently. Designing for starter kit is kind of challenging due to boards available
Boards. Yeah.
and order of battles available. I mean, sometimes you want to do a scenario and your well that tank isn't available in the starter kit order of battle or whatever. It's kind of difficult.
Yeah, you got to kind of keep them a little generic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which causes them to be more abstract than a full
Yeah.
ASL scenario, which has tons of maps and every unit, everything available.
Overlays.
Yeah. I would love if they adapted the classic squad leader scenario as a starter kit. You know, that's
Somebody could do it.
interesting. But I wonder, couldn't you just play the old squad leader using starter kit? Unless it had sand in it. You could probably play the originals, maybe. Well, no, there's
Well, there's always
elevation and stuff.
yeah, elevation. I mean,
Yeah,
the
that
problem with
screws it up.
balance and you'd have to, and the maps are all different. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. I think elevation would screw it up the most because elevation is introduced pretty early in squad leader.
yeah,
And
second
there's
floor.
yeah, second floors, things like that. And in starter kit, all there is first level. There's not even
First
first
level.
level in buildings, just hills. That's it.
But I mean, if somebody really wanted to, they could take the original scenario ideas and convert them to SK.
Bill Harpster. After all these years, it's a mentor more than a game. It's a solitary hobby for me. It's a mentor. Oh, okay. Yeah, some people like to play it solitaire. Uh, Rice Johnson. Have full collections of both SK and SL. Sold my old squad leader stuff. No.
Blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
No. Unacceptable. I I don't know what will happen to my original holding up the
I'm
box
gonna,
here, Scott. My original will go with me to the grave.
yeah, I'm gonna be buried with my squad.
I think the percent of people who started with Squad Leader may indicate something about the age profile of the ASL community. Yes, that is true. Uh, Iniko Monkoya, I know he's been a member of the channel for a long time, but I always screw his name up. I hope that's right. I'm not even sure that's his real name. Really interesting poll as an ASL noob in my 30s. Oh, look at this guy. I started with SK, but went full ASL a year ago and won't go back. I love a lot of full ASL mechanics too much. True.
Well, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like I said, if you like SK, you're gonna love full ASL.
Yep, as long as you approach it with a sane mindset that you just have to nibble away at it, like we always say.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it'd be. I'm not saying it's easy to make the jump, but
It's
once
just,
you do, the fun factor goes up
yeah, the craziness and
considerably.
fun factor. Is you just never know what's going to happen sometimes, which is, what war is about. I mean, not that war is fun, but it just adds more excitement to the game when you're playing your opponent. Just crazy stuff starts happening. Ready King Knight. Given the high percentage of answers falling in the starter with squad leader choice, it does say a lot about the graying of the hobby. Yes. Still, I take some solace in the fact that it's below 50%. I'm doing what I can to bring younger guys into the world of ASL and encourage the rest of you to do the same. It's the only way we can reverse this trend, if that's even possible at all. That is a good sentiment. We should all be doing our best to bring new players into the game, whether that's directly mentoring, encouraging people, or not disparaging people who don't want to get into the system, or discouraging people to not get into the system, or whatever. We should always be encouraging people to get into the ASL system and projecting the system in the best light we can to get people to get into it. I don't know what this means. Still makes me stumble and stutter.
Full ASL.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know what that. I'm not sure what they're referring to. I don't know if my big head's on the screen. The last one here, gave up and went for lock and load tactical, which is far easier to learn and scratches the same itch. I have mixed feelings about this. That's fine. People can play whatever they want as long as they get enjoyment out of it. I'm not going to begrudge them for that. But if you know, I've tried lock and load on the computer,
Oh, have
uh,
you?
on Steam. It was on sale. It was like $5 or something, so I bought it. And I don't know how different the computer version is from the table version, the box version, but I
Yeah.
wasn't feeling it when I played it. Maybe I don't know if it's my squad leader bias. I don't think so because I love Combat Commander. It's a tactical game. It's different than Squad Leader, but I really like that. But I wasn't feeling it with Lock and Load. But the point I want to make is, in my opinion, a system, any system, whether it's tactical, strategic, operational, whatever, for me is only as good as how active the community is, right? And
Yeah.
from what I can tell, games like Lock and Load Tactical, even though I didn't particularly care for it, I'm sure it's a fine game and some people like it, but if nobody's playing it, how good of is it of a system? I don't
Yeah.
want to be sitting at home just pushing counters around on my own. I'm not interested in that. So
There was a time. It's been years ago. 5, 5 to 10 years ago. I almost bought into Lock and Load just to try it, but I never did. I mean, for
yeah,
me, if I couldn't play ASL, play combat. 'Cause
exactly.
to me, Combat Commander is almost the fun factor is almost as full ASL.
It's
I
a
mean, it's similar. It's similar. The chaos of the cards
it's
and
introduced differently, but there's a lot of chaos in Combat Commander.
yeah,
But I mean, there's tons of. I'm sure all these tactical systems are great, and I've looked at the rule books because you can download some of the rule books online, and I've looked at them. I just don't have time to get into all of them. Obviously, um, I mean, ASL is my tactical system of choice, and I'm sure all of these have been influenced in one way or another by ASL. But how many people are playing these games, whether they're good or bad or somewhere in between? If nobody's, I mean,
yeah.
people are buying them, but if no one's playing them, I mean, you go on Vassal and there's no one ever playing them. So I'm not going
Well,
to invest in a system like that.
yeah. That's the thing for me. It's like for somebody that's thinking about getting into ASL, you couldn't really ask for better community of wargamers that you know would be willing to help you. And there's just and it just seems like it'd be so much easier to find an opponent with
Oh
full
yeah,
ASL than any other game.
an
You
opponent
know?
and help. answering
Yeah,
questions, anything. I mean, there's several, I don't know, there's maybe five, active communities that you could choose from. I wish there was just one. I wish there was just one big ASL community, but people have seemed to have migrated to their particular hangout. But there's like five or so, and you can get help from any of them, right? I peeked in. I'm members in some I've just peeked into and didn't join, but there's always help, right?
but
Opponents, like you said, rules questions, what to buy, whatever.
I mean, I get it. It's not for everybody
Yeah,
because, like I said, it's really a lifestyle. It's not just casual war game. It's takes
yeah.
some dedication.
And if
It's
that scratches Jeremy's itch, luck and them, great. But yeah, I want to play a system that I mean, you and I are regular opponents, but if we weren't regular and reliable opponents, I'd want to be able to find someone reliably that I could play with if I wanted to. And these other systems, I'm not sure you could do that. I think it'd be really difficult.
yeah.
Okay, that's the end of that poll and the end of this video.
Finally,
Finally, oh, I think we'll make this a regular thing. As long as I put up a poll that I think is interesting and worth us BSing about, we'll probably do these once in a while.
yeah. Like I thought the second one was gonna be not as interesting, but actually, that'd be
This one
interesting.
here,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I didn't. The other poll was that I skipped was when move. This is just kind of generic. When moving a force comprised of mixed units, infantry and vehicles, I generally move infantry first, vehicles first, a little of this and a little of that. Didn't find that to be too interesting to actually to discuss. I just threw that up there. So yeah, we won't do every poll, just some polls.
Yeah, that one's a little too. Depends on the situation.
It's situational, sure. Yep. And how much of a fan of sleeves freeze you are.
Only when I'm sleaze freezing you. I like it.
Thanks. Which isn't too often.
No.
We're not I don't want to get into it. We don't use it very often, but yeah, let's not go down this rabbit hole. But let's stick a fork in this one. Adios, Scott.
Adios,
See
muchacho.
you next time. Bye.